you start on the old Land Rover, or Series 1 car, as Armortek have to call it. So I've got the most excellent Armortek instruction book, which is actually seems pretty good. I've had a read through it. It's got completed pages and what it should look like from the side, front, and we're starting off with the chassis. So I've already fitted, I think that's going to be the front cross member and the gearbox cross member there. And then I was having some trouble finding, those came in one of these plastic bags, but I couldn't find 102 and 103, which I expected to be in a similar sort of bag, but I just about despaired and thought maybe the bag had been left out, and I found it in there, which is a big square bag of stuff. So that's ET102 and ET103. So we'll open this one up and see what we've got inside. Clunk. So we've got the bulkhead, which is why the bag was all square. And then we've got, yeah, that's the centre one, which goes into those little bits there. And then that's the rear bulkhead that goes on there. Right, okay. I've already got my fasteners out. There's a big old bag of fasteners that it comes with. So what I've done is just take out the ones that I need and put them into my magnetic tray. There's not really any logic to how they pack the fasteners, so you just have to go through the bags and find them. And what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to fix one side of the chassis first. It says do not tighten the bolts until drawing 2, so we'll avoid doing that. But what we will do is just connect this side on. So that is all there. And this may be where we need a wee bit of fertling to get things to fit, because that's a bit tight in there. So probably just a burr on the side, hopefully. Do the same inside there. Okay. Still declining to go in. Right, it needs to be a snug fit. That's probably taking snug a little too far. Well, it looks as though I finally managed to get that cross member in. It's involved removing quite a large amount of metal actually, and the application of course of the BFH, but that seems to have resolved it now. So I'll get these other screws in, get it all lined up. Hopefully and come together. 20, I can't remember now, M4 by 20 screws. I'll tighten them up just lightly tight, just to give the chassis some degree of rigidity, just to make sure that cross member is going to be in the right place when I screw that one in. Probably just loose them off again a little bit once I know that everything's square, because it says do not tighten till drawing 2. Definitely looks like a Land Rover chassis. Of course the originals were galvanised, the first prototypes. And then for whatever reason, Land Rover decided not to do that on the production models. And so of course they famously rust like there's no tomorrow. And they did the same around about 88, I think it was, with the 90s and 110s, that they replaced the body cappings from with the galvanised ones with just painted metal, which seemed a very backward step really, along with a few other bits that they stopped galvanising as well, so they started rotting out as well, especially since they tend to react with the bodywork, because the bodywork's burn bright and the cappings were steel, so you get a catalytic reaction between them. Right, that's that one in. Let's get those ones in the top. Holes line up alright. Feels okay. Oops. Bearing in mind you can buy new chassis galvanised, they're only a little bit more than non-galvanised. You do wonder why Land Rover decided to go cheapskate and not galvanise them. Seems an odd thing. And this one I don't think is perfectly lined up with the hole actually. I think I might be re-tapping this as I go. I haven't got a tap and die setting metric. I've only got an AF one for my cars. So I may end up having to get one. Okay, that's got alright. Right, that's those bits on. I've got to find, I've mislaid my other bit. There he is. Is that him? Can't remember now. No. I think that's the front bumper. Short pause wants to find the other bit. Oh, there he is. Right. So he goes on to there somehow, like so. Okay. So some more of the M4 bolts through the ends, hopefully. That one's going to need a bit of deburring. There's my local file's gone. I need to get a deburring tool, but I haven't got one yet, so I'm going to make do with a needle file at the moment. That'll probably do it. There we go, just clean that up. Right, that's the first sequence done. Took a lot longer than expected because of having to do all that cutting out. Get that cross member in. Right, so moving on to assembly number 2. Got the outriggers and the front bumper. So I'm going to loosen off what we've done already, like what it says in the book. I'm not going to worry too much about Loctiting these screws because when I paint the chassis, I'll hold them in anyway. Right, so we can loosen off, so I'm going to find the parts and then we'll be back. That should go on the same side as the PTO hole. And I've done a bit of deburring in there, so that should all be tickety-boo. If I remember correctly, and I'm going to have to check this, the bumper is galvanised, not painted, so I'm going to have to potentially remove this again when I do the chassis paint. So I'm not going to Loctite these on. At the minute I'm not even going to screw them in because I don't want to go in. Tiny little screws. These are M3, what are these? M3 by 12 button head screws, allegedly. It's kind of recognisable as being a Land Rover chassis now. Of course, the other thing with the original prototypes was that they were full-time four-wheel drive. And for some reason when it came to production they ditched that and went over to part-time four-wheel drive, which kind of seemed an odd decision to make, but I suppose they had their reasons, not quite sure what they were. Okay, right, get those on. There we go, so switch to a slightly less small Allen key, there's no such thing as a large one on this, and then what we need is the cross members, not the cross members, the outriggers. That stuff's all sort of it's done from a solid casting by the looks of it, which is quite impressive. Everything's just worked from solid. Right, so we need the old M4 by 20s again. So they're going from where the bloody hell are they going? Down towards the front. I've got the truck the opposite way around to what it is in the picture, just to make my life a little bit more complicated. Right, so they go through there and bolt into that way up. That's the top one. Like so. That looks about right. It's fairly Land Rover-ish. Bottom one. Excellent. Now I'm just going to do the other side, and then at that point I can go around and tighten everything up. So we'll come back once I've done all that. Now there's these little square pieces which are supposed to fit in there, but when the bumper's tied up, of course they don't fit in there. So I've had to loosen the rear cross member off a bit to fit those in, It says to Loctite the rim, but I'm a bit reluctant to do that at the minute because that does actually mean that the rear cross member isn't right up as far as it could be. So I'm not sure if that's right or if I need to just file those down a little bit so that they'll fit with it all done up. So I'll have to see. I think as it progresses, I'm not going to glue them in for the moment. I'm just going to tighten those bits up. That should, yeah, that'll hold them in place for now. And then we'll see what life brings us. Well, yeah, that seems a little bit odd. I'll bring him in now. Yeah, so we'll see how that sits once the body's actually on there. And the other problem that I've come across is that these screws for the outriggers don't go in all the way, so whether these need burring out a little bit or whether I'll just get shorter Vernium 4 recess bolt screws, so, or bolts, so I could just get shorter ones to pull those in. Maybe a trip down B&Q. And then in the book there's a bit I've missed off actually. There's a sneaky little piece just here, ET0107, which goes underneath, which I haven't got out because I hadn't noticed that. I thought it was the cross member that's already on there. So I'm going to get that out, fit that, but basically that's me done for today. One Land Rover chassis, and we'll carry on another day with the build. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you again. Do the rest of the build. Cheers now.